Welcome to episode 13 of the Action Takers podcast. I'm your co-host, Nate. Got JC here as always. JC, how you doing, buddy?
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
Dude, I am doing absolutely okay. I think I have a fever. I gotta get on an airplane tomorrow with no mask. I'm pretty excited. It's I'm having a couple cocktails tonight to celebrate me heading to the West Coast, getting back to the old hometown for a wedding that I'll be in town for. So, dude, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
That's awesome. No, I'm doing great. Yeah, you're gonna come visit this part of the U.S. Come back to Cali, which would be cool. But yeah, no, doing great. Just grinding away, as they say. Working and expanding and growing and doing things and taking action.
Dude, that's fucking amazing, man.
Whole point of our podcast.
Fuck, dude. It's so funny because one, I'm shocked that our podcast name was even available. As you can hear, I sound like I'm sick. Dude, because there's so many people out there that are fucking talking about it. You know what I mean? One of the things that everyone seems to produce content wise is just hey, you got to take some action. You got to fucking get out there and you got to fucking just take a step forward. And dude, it just cracks me up that someone hasn't before us figured out hey, fuck, we should have a podcast named Action Taker. So dude, it's pretty remarkable.
Hey, sometimes it just luck has its way of helping you out with that. Having stuff being available, which is cool.
Absolutely. So Nate and I we're recording early this week because I've got to be traveling tomorrow, and so we decided to put together. We talked about it in the past, but we decided that we were going to put together a list of people who I follow on either social media or I listen to on podcasts, YouTube's. And Nate put together his list of people that he thinks that are kind of interesting folks that you might have never heard of. It's Nate and I kind of compared lists, and we've only got one that's shared on our list, so it's going to be an interesting show. It's going to be a list style show. This is the perfect YouTube headline of the top 20 accounts to follow in 2022. It's going to be some clickbaity title.
It actually be 19 because we do have one the same. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, well, technicalities. I'm glad you said it before a fucking commenter is hey, dipshits. You actually only said 19, so I appreciate it.
I mean, I guess we can maybe find some honorable mentions to get to 20.
Well, in our previous show, we talked about accounts that you probably shouldn't follow, and then there's accounts that you probably should follow. My list is kind of based on it's not necessarily entertaining people. It's nothing it's not even, some of them kind of inspirational. Some are entertaining, but a lot of my list kind of makes up 3 different groups or 4 different groups. One is kind of the business side, real estate, and then let's see here. I got marketing and copywriting, and then my other one's just a fucking curveball. So what is your list kind of comprise of?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously all kind of business and self-improvement, self-development based, but just different aspects of things that people that put out a lot of good content. Whether it's just motivation or legal stuff, tax stuff. So yeah, it's just a mixture of everything. Some people you probably heard of, some people you might not have heard of. So just a good overall list of people, especially for entrepreneurs or just people that are maybe doing management or just want to improve themselves. It's a good mixture of people.
It's so how do we kick this thing off? Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go ahead, go first. Who's the first person you got on your list?
So the first guy who popped up on my list, first guy I ever thought of, he's a guy who does not produce a lot of content, but the content he produces is absolutely fire. His name's Naval. I don't know if you've ever heard of Naval. He wrote this really famous Twitter thread, essentially, that some guy even turned into a book. And the title is How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. And it pretty much breaks down a giant framework of how to essentially get rich, and rich meaning, you know, financially or happiness or whatever. But it's a really cool read. And he's one of those individuals who, I mean, he's got 1.7 million followers on Twitter. He's following like zero. And it just seems like a lot of people who are really, really successful also follow him. And he just sends out little nuggets every once in a while, sends out little Twitter threads that are just absolutely like, they're frameworks that, you know, help, like, they're from a perspective of someone that is a lot smarter than I am. So it's that's who I got as ranked top of my list right now.
Mine are not ranked, you know, so I just
Oh,
kind of random.
mine aren't ranked either. I just like the ones that put, like, the one when we had decided on the show style, like, oh fuck, I need to include this guy because I think, because like, no, if you've never heard of Naval, like most people have never heard of him. Like anyone that's not on Twitter or not in the business world, like really have no fucking clue. And I always send them that, like, you know, like, this is how you get rich, and it's a good article. I highly recommend someone go into our in the show links or the show notes. There going to be a link of all of these people who we have on the list. But who do you got? Who do you got up first?
My first person, Tyler McBroom. He's a CPA. So he puts out just a lot of good nuggets as far as tax stuff. Does a lot of, you know, questions on his story. So I think I was introduced to him either, I want to say Andy Frisella, possibly. And yeah, so I mean, like I say, he just has a lot of good stuff that he puts on there. So, you know, anyone that's in the business world and you want to just get good accounting, you know, tips and tax stuff, is a good one to follow.
Good deal. It's dude, as you get older, you make a little bit more money, and the fucking taxes is like, good God, pretty important. What so I'd never heard of Tyler before. Have you ever heard of Naval?
No, I hadn't heard of him. So
Okay.
again, he's added to some new people I got to follow.
Good deal. It so my next one up that came like top of mind, and it's a guy who, to be honest with you, like, I don't really even, like, I pay attention to him, but I don't consume his content like I did like 3 or 4 years ago. Because 3 or 4 years ago, I was in a way different place in my life, and he kind of helped motivate me to kind of take some action. To leave California and do things a little bit different. It's Grant Cardone, the real estate mogul, the fucking car salesman himself. I remember taking his training when I sold Dodges. Like, that's how, like, he's been so, and when I sold Dodges was like 15 years ago, 16 years ago. So it's been a long time. Yeah, so Grant Cardone, fuck, if you don't know who that is, he's a fucking billionaire. He's got, I don't know, $140 billion worth of apartments that he likes to talk about. So
yeah, so I'll jump in. That was the same person I had on my list. Yeah, you know, puts out good motivation stuff. You know, a lot of his stuff now is more in real estate. I've seen him transition over the years because I've been following him on Instagram for a while. You know, he used to be real big on his sales stuff, and he's really transitioned into you know, just pushing, yeah, the real estate that he does. And I don't know if has it open right now, but, you know, if you're looking to get into real estate, you know, he had it open at one time, or all you needed was $1,000 to invest. So he's a good person to follow and get on board with that, with Cardone Capital.
Dude, yeah, dude, he's super inspirational. But one of the things that I take away from Grant Cardone is he's my guy where I ask myself, like, what would Grant Cardone do? Because his, like, dude, he's a fucking weirdo. Like, he doesn't save money. Like, he just blows it on assets, and then the assets turn around and pays him. And just, dude, it's really incredible. And what he's done with his fund, I'm pretty sure is the only one who has put together a fund where you are able to invest in real assets as kind of like an institutional investor, where, you know, beforehand, like, most of the time, if you're going to get into these real estate groups where you invest, you know, a large amount of capital, or even a little amount of capital, you have to have, there's certain like requirements from the SEC. And one of them is like, you got to make $400,000 a year, or you got to be worth $1 million. You have to have kind of this resume. And Grant Cardone's, I mean, he's taking a lot of heat for it, but it's one of those things. I don't invest in it. Do you invest in it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, this last year, the end of last year, I invested a little bit into it. So, yeah, and got my first payout on it. I think last month. So pretty cool.
Is it worth it? Like, is it everything that is cracked up to be? Because there's a lot of haters out there that like to just chirp on Grant about his techniques.
I mean, I got paid some money the first quarter of the year. So I mean, I don't know how bad it can be, off my investment. And it's the big thing on it is he's gonna, you know, 2x, 3x, 4x your initial investment on top of during that time over the next 5 to 10 years, paying you depending on how much you put in, pay you every quarter or every month. So I only put enough to get in, paid every quarter. But hey, making money on my money instead of that just sitting in this savings account and earning 0.01%, getting a penny from the bank, every month. So I'm getting, make a little bit more than that. So it's just one of those things. If you're going to put your money, either you can blow it on something, or I decide to invest it where hopefully in a few years can double or triple it and then reinvest it. And just, you got to start somewhere. So that's the awesome thing about what he did, is give everyone a chance. Even if you just had a couple $1,000s, you can invest that and boom, you own a very, very, very small percentage of some multi-unit assets.
Well, and like I think a lot of times, like just being like a part of the process, oftentimes like the people who, the fucking people who don't have this education, or they don't have the family members who have kind of pushed them in that direction or educated them in that certain way. I think this is an opportunity where like you get to learn and you get to be a part of it. No matter if you've got a small stake or a large stake, like you're going to be through the process. You're going to actually see your money working for you, and you're going to be investing that fucking mailbox money, which is pretty incredible. Which brings me into my next point, or my next guy who I follow. I've met him a couple times. He's I don't want to say he's inspirational, because he's kind of a dork when you meet him in person, and you realize that like sometimes the people on Twitter and fucking YouTube aren't as I'm not trying to discount the guy. He's just a normal guy. He's just like a really normal dude who just makes incredibly like huge bets on himself and his business. It's Nick Huber from Sweaty Startup. He kind of got his he got into the niche of like, don't go build the next fucking Facebook. Just go out there and build like the next company that washes windows, and you're gonna make $1 million. Like, and you're like, the avenue and the success rate is so much higher if you're gonna do a service style business. And then he pretty much transitioned into service businesses, taking that service income and investing in it into self storage facilities, which he now has fucking $500 million worth of self storage that he's got under management with his company that manages and purchases storage facilities.
Nice. Hey, that's take money from one thing, put it in another, and build it that way. It's a good strategy. My next person on there, which I'm sure the majority of people are already following, but Gary V. He's still, you got to have him on there of people that puts out good content, and it's funny. His stuff is very basic, right? But with that, on his top of it, most people aren't executing or taking action on the things he says. So why a lot of people don't see success, and the whole thing of it is, you got to, on all these people that we kind of mention, or a lot of them have stuff that they tell you what to do. It's just a matter of, you got to do it and you got to take the action.
Dude, Gary V, he was one of the first like influencers I started listening to, and dude, he's a crazy motherfucker. Like that guy, and you're right, he talks about super basic things that are really straightforward, and he says it 1,000 times, and it's the same content over and over. He's just in a different place, and he's saying it from different ways. And that guy, I mean, I don't want to say he's the definition of hard work, but he's fucking a grinder. That guy has taken a pretty unique path in life. And dude, he made my list, and then I took him off because I don't really pay attention to him anymore, because he kind of says the same shit. But I draw. So I used to play this game with Gary V where every time Gary V, where I would see a piece of content Gary V would present or post, I would have to post something, which is not a fun game to play. Like I got burnt out in like 3 days. It was like hundreds of pieces of content. I was fucking absolutely mind blown on how much content he pushes out.
Yeah, I mean, but he also has a team, so trying to do a
True.
match with just yourself can be a little bit difficult.
A little challenging, but it so one of the people that I pay attention to quite a bit, I subscribe to his newsletter, his podcast, his Twitter account. A guy that I guarantee you've never heard of, Neville Medora. He's a copywriter at Trade. This dude absolutely took something relatively boring and fucking made a multi-million-dollar business out of it. And just his journey and his path, but also like the tools that he like has produced when it comes to like his copywriting course and his what he calls a swipe file. A swipe file, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a file with a bunch of copywriting that you pretty much can take inspiration from. And he's got a popular website, which I'll link in the description, that it's called swipefile.com. And it is, if you're building a website or if you're building a landing page or you're trying to build a funnel or you're trying to get some inspiration for like maybe a Facebook ad or a billboard ad, whatever it is, he's got hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content, probably thousands of pieces of content where he just shares it with everyone. He makes a little ad spend on it because the site gets so much traffic, but really good follow.
You want to talk about inspiration? I'm reading his book right now. So my next person on my list, David Goggins, great follow. If you're just feeling unmotivated, watch some of his stuff, and he'll make you want to freaking get up and do something. Usually inspires me to run, which I don't like to run, but trying to do that a little bit more. But yeah, he's same thing. I forget who you said earlier, but he has millions of followers, doesn't follow anyone. He just puts out his content. All the big people follow him because he's just fucking motivating. He's done so much, and like I said, I'm almost done with his book, and it's his books. Can't Hurt Me. Totally recommend it, even though I didn't finish it yet. But everything I've read in it so far, it's a great book.
Dude, that guy is a fucking nut job. If you want to feel like a little fucking bitch, he's a guy you need to follow. Good God, that motherfucker, I love him. He's incredible. He didn't make my list, but that dude, I was watching one of his videos and he's like, I'm taking fucking souls. These fucking pussies out here, they message me on Twitter and Instagram. They want to run with me. Guess what? Today I showed up. It's freezing fucking rain. It's pissing down. We're going to do 15 miles. And I took their soul. They rescheduled. They gave up. And it's just like, this motherfucker, Jesus Christ. This guy is awesome. He, oh, fuck. Mental fucking behemoth. That guy, fuck. It, pretty fucking crazy. He's a fucking interesting dude. So this next lady who I follow, she's married to a Navy SEAL who I don't know. I think I can't remember when his class was or whatever, but anyways, I've met both of them. It's Cody Sanchez. She's she runs a newsletter called Contrarian Thinking. I've been to her conference. It was the first conference I was ever kind of a part of. And she's all about like showing you how to build like wealth through businesses. And her biggest thing is like, do what the really, really rich people do. And they just go out and buy businesses. Go buy businesses that cash flow, and don't chase the same tech style. Don't just go and go find an HVAC company that the guy's, 69 years old. He's a baby boomer ready to retire, and he's got no one to leave it to. His kids want to be fucking YouTubers and Instagrammers, but they don't want to run an HVAC company. And she's like, you can make a fucking $1 million. All you gotta do is buy the business and use their money to finance it. And so pretty cool follow. I'll include her newsletter in the description below.
Nice. Yeah. My next person, Bradley. Good follow. Yeah, The Hard Way. I haven't read that book, but got to get that. It's going to be on the list to read. But yeah, I mean, he puts out good content. He has a good podcast. So I highly recommend listening to his podcast and following him on social media, Instagram. He's always putting out good stuff. And same thing, just basic stuff, right? But a lot of people don't execute on it. So, but yeah, he's a good follow. Highly recommend.
I read his book. I recently read his book. It's a good book. It's a good book because it's shocking that like he's a really good example of like, if he can do it, I can fucking do it. Like it's I no shot at Brad Lee. Brad Lee's fucking amazing. Another car guy which I follow, but yeah, really good follow. I enjoy his stuff. As we're kind of running out of time, I'm going to kind of speed up and not talk as much. A couple of them that I would highly recommend people following. They have really interesting perspectives on things. One is Alex Hermosi. He's a guy who pretty much he built like Gym Launch. He built acquisition.com. He's made $180 million. Anyways, he produces a bunch of content for free, and the dude's super smart and he fucking learns from billionaires and he provides it all for free. He bought a coaching course from Grant Cardone for like $160,000 and posted every episode on YouTube. So Grant was coaching him and he's like, fuck, we're putting this on YouTube. Who gives a shit? Like, and it was pretty remarkable. And then the next guy who I follow on YouTube is Ben Malla. Ben Malla, Nate, you got to look this guy up. He is a fucking crazy person. He's like 500 pounds. He's worth like $500 million, but he started in Oakland investing in like apartments in the fucking hood. And his YouTube channel absolutely is hilarious. He is a guy who cannot get canceled. He fucking makes fun of everyone. He makes fun of fucking Polish people, white people, Mexicans, blacks. It doesn't matter. This guy fucking absolutely is ruthless to everyone. Highly recommend both those YouTube channels.
Nice. My next person on the list, Andy Frisella. We bring him up a lot. Recommend listening to his podcast and following him on social media. He doesn't do any posts anymore, so everything's just stories on Instagram. But he still posts a lot of good stuff. And same thing, giving you the basic stuff that we just got to do. We got to execute, and most people aren't doing. Especially with how things are right now in the world, but mostly the U.S. All the craziness that's going on. He has a lot of good content for just for things that are happening, and a lot of people are choosing to I don't know, ignore it, act like it's not going on or just whatever. But he's definitely on the push of trying to get people changed, and so yeah, I highly recommend Andy.
It absolutely good dude. He's inspired me to do some crazy shit in my life. To include 75 hard, which when I get back from California, I'm doing 75 hard again, and I'm gonna get after it, dude.
Or you're not gonna start phase 1?
What do you mean?
The 30-day. So after 75 hard, there's phase 1, and then there's phase 2.
Oh, I didn't know that. What?
Yeah. Some people just do 75 hard again though.
What is phase 1? What does that mean?
Phase 1, I think, is all 75 hard, and then you have to take like a 5-minute cold shower every day. You have to talk to one random person every day, and there's another thing I forget, but yeah.
Okay. So I'll have to look that up.
But it's only for 30 days. It's only for 30 days. So
okay. Well, fuck, I might try one of those. It's 75 hard, dude. It is one of the best things for you out there. I swear to God. It's incredible. So as we're wrapping this thing up, we've got 6 minutes left on the old Zoom clock. My next three people who I think you should follow, they're all based on Twitter, for the most part, and they're all kind of, two of them are very similar, and then the other one is just very inspirational, when it comes to like business and frameworks and like a guy who just thinks differently. Sean Puri is one of those guys who he's a host of My First Million podcast. He hosts it with I can't remember his name. Anyways, he really cool dude. Like really hasn't been successful in anything he's done. He's done a couple things that are like really big successful, but like he's had a lot of failures and he like talks publicly about them, and it's pretty incredible. And then the next two are levels.io and marketing examples. Two accounts who are completely faceless. I've never seen a person. I've never seen a photo of anything. They're just literally just marketing material. Both are like, if you need inspiration when it comes to your copywriting or your website or how to design things kind of unique and different, two accounts that I highly recommend. It's or just highly recommend just following. They're incredible. They post some pretty cool shit.
Nice. Well, shoot, I'll bust out my final four then. Wes Watson. I heard of him first on Brad Lee's podcast episode with him, and so he's real quick. You know, he spent 10 years in prison, so he's just super motivated. I think it's super motivating as far as just, you know, getting stuff done, and, you know, about fitness. So he's a good follow for inspiration. He's the one who got me going, waking up early, because he goes to gym at 4 a.m. every single day for the past like however many years. So he got me motivated. Hey, I got to get up early every day. I'm going to mess up this last name, but Rob Friend. He's a lawyer based out of California, and on Instagram puts out a lot of good content. Like I said, mostly business related. So I mean, it's good, you know, good stuff to follow, good little things, you know. One time you talked about that. If you're sponsoring an ad on Instagram, and even though the music's available on you know, to put, you can still get actually sued by Sony or whoever owns that audio. So you know, because, you know, now you're making a commercial essentially, and you're using their music. So versus just when you post a reel or something. So that's a thing that popped up that, you know, you kind of talked about. I was like, oh shoot, that's good to know. If you're sponsoring an ad and you got music in it, you better make sure it's one that you can use.
Yeah. Okay.
Sean Whalen, you know, owner of Lions Not Sheep, good, especially motivation, part of his coaching group. So he's a good follow on Instagram. And then last, Ryan Stewman, hardcore closer. So he's big on sales. So he's a good motivation person as far as just puts out good stuff, content as far as just motivation, and then sales stuff, and a little bit of everything. He's kind of similar to Andy Frisella, and even Sean Whalen kind of talks about a lot of stuff going on in the US and you know, how we should better ourselves.
Okay. Dude, you've said some names that I have no clue. I think Wes Watson, I think I follow him on TikTok. He talks about him going to federal prison, which cracks me up because I follow, like, dude, it's weird. Like, ever since I got out of law enforcement, I'll follow some unique dudes. One of them's like a cannabis grower out in Humboldt. The other one's fucking like Wes Watson. You know, dude spent like, you know, 7 years in federal prison. Pretty cool. So looking at your list, who would you say, like, these are the top three? If you do anything today, you have to follow these accounts. Or is there three that just kind of like scream at you? And I can go first if you want.
Yeah, I'll let you go first, but I take a minute to kind of think about that.
So my top three who absolutely would fucking, you have to follow, who absolutely will give you inspiration, you know, to take action and fucking just increase your, you know, your fucking just IQ, is, you know, at Nate Alva and at JC Cardinelli. No,
that's a good one. You know what though? We never talk about our personal handles enough. You know, we say follow the show, but, you know, follow us on social media also. So
so follow. So my three would be would probably be Cody Sanchez, Nick Huber from Sweaty Startup, and then Alex Hermosi is probably my top three.
Man, I'm gonna say Andy Frisella. Let's go with David Goggins, and just because you know, Tyler McBroom, because that kind of helps everyone. You know, even if you're an employee, he has good stuff on taxes. So we all want to save money on our taxes. So
good deal, Nate. Well, shit, we got less than a minute on the old Zoom account. We're gonna have to upgrade that as soon as we get our first coaching call. I swear to God, I'm upgrading it. So if you don't follow the show, follow us at JC Cardinelli and at Nate Alva. And until next week, hopefully I'll see you in California, Nate. But until next week, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, have a good one.
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.